Yes, I think ignorance is important, and perhaps admitting ignorance is important. And Catherine Morland in Northanger Abbey does that. She realises she has a lot to learn, whereas a character from the same novel, like John Thorpe, thinks he knows everything and is full of grand opinions about this, that, and the other, when it becomes very clear he's an extremely ignorant man, even though he's a student at Oxford. So yes, I think Jane Austen shows beautifully in that novel that ignorance is a very important part of the whole process of learning. And in the Jane Austen Society, we try really hard to cater to members of extremely different levels of knowledge about the books. We might have somebody who's read the books once only and they're there at JASA, Jane Austen Society of Australia, for the very first time. We don't want to make them feel that because they're not as knowledgeable about the novels as some others in the room, that they're unwelcome in any way, or that their views on the book that they have just read and enjoyed are any less valid. So yes, I think admitting ignorance or not being ashamed that you don't know of something should never be a stumbling block, because that is the way we learn. And it's those people who sort of state, I know everything, I don't need to learn, that are the really ignorant ones, and they're never going to go any further, and they're going to miss so much joy in life. I think we see it too with Emma. You know, Emma has had so little experience of the world. She's been so stuck there in Highbury. She's never travelled. She's stuck with that dreadful father of hers. You know, she's 20. She's never even seen the sea. And she lives in Surrey. The sea's not very far away. Her life has been so limited. And Emma is pretty ignorant, and she makes all those wonderful mistakes in the course of the novel, and she learns about herself. And we see those marvellous moments of realisation in Emma as she starts to think, oh, I didn't behave very well there, and how could I do better? And should I be listening to Mr. Knightley? And how well do I know myself? And I think those learning moments from Emma's progress from ignorance to much more appreciation of herself are so important. And in Pride and Prejudice, exactly halfway through the novel, we get Elizabeth Bennet saying to herself, until this moment, I never knew myself. And that's dead halfway in the novel. And in the second half of the novel, we see Elizabeth really understanding herself and the world around her so much better. So she's really also, I think, in a position of ignorance in the first half of the novel. She thinks she's pretty smart, and of course she is, but she's not perhaps quite as good a judge of human nature as she thinks she is in that first half of the novel. And Elizabeth has got to turn some things around and come to see things more realistically in the second half. So ignorance is vital in Jane Austen novels.